Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Some Guy Earning Achievements, where I, just some guy, earn achievements. Today we move from the snowy streets of Stalingrad to the desolate deserts of Egypt as we begin the British campaign as Sergeant John Davis. The first part of the mission is called the Diversionary Raid, and we are tasked with neutralising 3 enemy hardpoints as well as an ammo/fuel depot. With the new campaign comes new weapons, and we now have arguably the best gun of the game at our disposal, the Thompson submachine gun. It may not be as fast as the PPSH or even have as many rounds, but it does have superior recoil, allowing for greater accuracy, which helps us neutralise the first group of Germans. Majority of this part of the mission takes place within trenches and close quarters, where the Thompson really can shine. It is only on occasion where we need to swap to our new rifle, the Lee Enfield, although it too is effective at close range as this hapless German found out. Continuing through the trenches, we come across a bunker we must secure. I don't know if the Germans were just having an off day or we were just getting gooder at the game, but we somehow managed to secure it without any issue. Trekking further through the trenches, we come across the second enemy hardpoint and neutralise it with ease, despite one of the Germans having last stand on. Because the mission was going so well and checkpoints were aplenty, we were traversing the trenches with such confidence. Unfortunately, we did have a little too much confidence and end up having our first death. The next run goes much better, despite the Germans' attempt to scare us with grenades. Soon after, we arrive at the next bunker where the Thompson and us make short work of the Germans inside. Once again, the enemies use grenades to try and scare us, and once again it fails them. We climb the ladder and kill 2 Germans, but in our haste we completely ran past one who shoots us in the back. Luckily he doesn't kill us, as once again it seems they are having an off day, and we call him instead to complete our first objective. With all hardpoints neutralised, our new task is to meet up with Captain Price and destroy the enemy fuel and ammo stockpiles. The fuel barrels can be shot with any weapon, but the ammo needs to have a bomb planted on it. Thankfully though, they are nowhere near as finicky as the tanks from the Russian campaign. Despite one death after running into a newly spawned group of enemies, this area isn't that tough, as your teammates do a good job of distracting and killing the enemies, as well as blowing up some of the fuel barrels. Once all the fuel and ammo is destroyed, the final objective requires us to infiltrate a bunker and retrieve some enemy documents. To our surprise, one of our fellow soldiers was tasked with planting the explosives to open the door, which was a nice change. This area is another set of trenches, before a bunker at the end, so nothing we haven't already faced. There was even another German who had last stand on. A couple of grenades and some short bursts with the Thompson made securing the bunker nice and easy. We even managed to kill the 1942 German hide-and-seek champion. Documents in hand, we returned to our fellow soldiers where we were in the presence of the mustachioed maestro himself, Captain Price. After gazing at his fine follicles for a moment, this part of the mission was complete. The next part is called Hold the Line and thrusts us into the action immediately. Our objective is to defend a small town on all sides until reinforcements can arrive. After exiting the jeep, we notice a giant flak gun and promptly kick our colleague off like we're his older brother. Sadly, we whiff our first shot and then are immediately killed. For the next attempt, we opted to use one of the mounted machine guns, which went far better. Not only did we actually hit enemies, we managed to survive long enough for the mission to progress. Inspired by our recent efforts, we decided to give the flak gun another go and actually managed to get some kills this time, enough to earn a nuke if it had been invented at this point in time. With this side of the town defended, the Germans started coming from the north. Thankfully another MG was waiting for us, so we took up position and started firing into the smoke, although I don't think we actually hit anything. Tired of all my constant spraying, German Tom Brady returned and threw a grenade right in front of us, causing us to displace. We threw a grenade of our own in return, which was all that was needed to complete the objective. It seems that my efforts hadn't gone unnoticed, and Captain Price awarded me with an artillery strike kill streak. Ascending to the top of a nearby building, we used our new toy to rain fire on the Germans. It was satisfying to see waves of Germans caught in the blast radius. So satisfying in fact that we failed to notice a sneaky German who climbed up and shot us. Using the artillery strike, we successfully defended the town from the Germans and their tanks, completing another part of the mission. The third part is called Operation Supercharge. Our objective is to assist friendly tanks breach the El Alamein line. Just like the first mission, this one is a blend of open areas and close quarters. We begin behind one of our friendly tanks and pick off enemies in a trench up ahead. Once they are all dead, we navigate through a tunnel which isn't too difficult, and we meet up with our armour on the other side. In order to cross the open desert and reach our next objective, we need to stay behind one of the tanks as it drives across. After successfully completing our cannonball run, we make our way into a nearby trench and set about destroying some enemy flak guns. Once again, the Thompson makes quick work of the enemy, and we find ourselves at the entrance to a bunker. The stairway down is guarded by a German on an MG, who is no match for our sniper rifle, and he soon finds himself on the stairway to heaven. Or hell, he's probably going to hell. Hell is almost where we end up as our bullet hits some barrels behind the German and blow up just as we round the corner. Down the hatch from Lost we delve deeper into the bunker, which leads to another tunnel. On the other side is the first flak gun, which Captain Price and us eliminate the crew for. A little further on, past two unaware Germans on MGs, we find a second bunker. Unbeknownst to us, our teammates are advancing from the other side, and we nearly give poor Private Sullivan a sore hip and a purple heart. Carrying on, we find a third bunker, which actually has some Germans in it this time, as well as the next flak gun. They don't notice us immediately, so we decide to get revenge for past discretions by lobbing a grenade at them. It probably would have killed more of them had we not given away our position by shooting, but nevertheless we kill them all and advance through the bunker into another tunnel. Weirdly though, there isn't a single enemy guarding it. Once we are through, we find ourselves at another open area and will need to use a tank to shield us as we cross. All's going well until pandemonium seems to spontaneously combust, leaving us in no man's land. Thankfully someone must have said Bloody Mary 3 times and another tank rolls in to escort us the rest of the way. Back in the trenches, Thompson and us carve our way through the Germans towards the next flak gun, which has somehow already been destroyed. Hey, one less to worry about. Enemies from the neighbouring guns start firing on us, so we thought this would be a good opportunity to give the sniper rifle a little action. We line up our shot, hold our breath, and shoot Corporal Cheek point blank. Captain Price may not tolerate cheek, but he tolerates friendly fire a lot less. The next time we get a bit closer before pulling out the sniper rifle and decide to make the task a little more difficult by tossing a smoke grenade in first. Regardless, we are able to kill everyone and neutralise the fourth flak gun, only one more remains. Further up the trench we spot the final flak gun. Giving ourselves a second chance, we once again pull out the sniper rifle. And once again we shoot one of our teammates. Luckily for us, Sergeant Henderson was still wearing his helmet, so only our friendship died that day. With the final flak gun neutralised, all that was left to do in the area was clear the enemy barracks. Once again, to our surprise, one of our teammates planted the explosives. Barreling through the smoke and down the stairs, we are promptly killed, which I guess makes our teammates and us even. This was the trickiest part of the mission, and we did die a couple of times here. There are 2 rooms with enemies and barely enough cover to hide behind, but with enough patience we persevere and clear the bunker of enemies. Through one final tunnel we find ourselves on a ridge overlooking a small town where we must locate and radio HQ. With tanks leading the way we storm the building, kill a few Germans and find the radio, finally completing this part of the mission. The final part of the mission is the end of the beginning and tasks us with eliminating Axis naval artillery. The mission begins with us in the back of a truck driving towards El Daba while planes circle around dropping bombs, making for quite the spectacle. As soon as we roll into town, we are fired upon by enemies on machine guns. With a head-on attack not being viable, we need to flank around to the right. The first group of Germans we come across are stubbornly dug in behind cover, so we use one of their classic tactics against them. Despite the more open terrain, the Thompson still proves to be the right choice on this occasion. With the main streets clear, we head through a building and into a back alley towards the docks. There are 3 artillery guns lining the docks, and it is up to us to stop them. Using a familiar tactic, we successfully eliminate all 3 teams, and reward our efforts with a new toy, the Brain Light machine gun. It's slower than the Thompson, but packs a punch, and the magazine makes it look like it has a mohawk. Yet again we need to make it to a radio on the 2nd floor of a building, but this time we encounter much more resistance and end up dying. Through brute force and some luck we do make our way upstairs in the radio HQ to commence the attack. Broadsword to King 5, we've sunk their battleship. The mission's not over yet though, so we head up the street and down an alley into an area where they must have had one too many Jehovah's Witnesses. Poor Private Mitchell. We come bearing bullets instead of Bibles and make the enemy see the light as we charge through to our next objective. We find an actual stairway to heaven as 2 of my teammates meet their end atop it. We too nearly meet the same fate, but the Mohawk machine and I stand our ground. One final building is all that stands between us and the end of our mission. It took us a few attempts, but with a couple of grenades and our new trusty gun, we make our way to the top and secure the radioactive documents. All that is left to do is regroup at the docks where we find Captain Price holding a bottle of grape juice to congratulate a job well done. And with that we are finally done with this mission and earn the achievement Veteran of El Alamein. Thank you kindly for watching and please leave a like or comment if you see fit. I hope you join me again where next time the tankers become the tankies.